So there have been reports out this week suggesting Sony doesn't want to feel left out when it comes to releasing new hardware this year. With Nintendo Switch launching a few weeks ago, Xbox Scorpio coming out this holiday season, Sony is said to be looking at releasing a new slim model coming this holiday. Now, this news comes from DigiTimes, which is an outlet in Taiwan, which sometimes is right and sometimes is wrong. So this is definitely still in the rumor category. But if you look at, the track record over the last few years with consoles, it doesn't seem that unlikely. So them coming out with newer slim models is something that happens after the generation gets going. And considering the original PS4 already has a slim model, it would seem more likely that if you see any sort of new product, it would be like a PS4 Pro Slim. And so maybe instead of looking like a triple decker, it looks like a double decker, or maybe they just totally redesigned it completely because, it didn't win too many design awards from the critics. And at least this way, Sony would have something coming out, because by the time that the Scorpio is going to hit, the Pro is already going to be a year old, and man, does time fly. Now, I wouldn't expect power to be any different, but that isn't to say that you can't improve on some things. For starters, one of the biggest gripes about the PS4 Pro, aside from the fact that some new games are still coming out that don't hit 60 frames per second, is the fact that it's missing an Ultra HD Blu-ray player. Now, you can probably place a safe bet that Scorpio is going to have one, considering Microsoft made such a big deal about the Xbox One S having one and the Pro missing it. So if Sony feels like they're maybe missing out on some sales due to this missing feature and it's economically feasible, then now would be the perfect time to kind of drop one in. Granted, if you're trying to slim it down, that may not be what you're wanting to do, wanting to add features if you're trying to make everything smaller. But, the Xbox One S did manage to put one in, and it still kept its form relatively small. Now, there was some talk whenever the Pro came out that Sony didn't want to include a Blu-ray player in the Pro because they were planning on launching their own standalone 4K Blu-ray player, which actually came out last month, so February 2017. And so they didn't want the PS4 Pro kind of stepping on those sales of that player, considering that, Blu-ray players are a bit more expensive than what a console is. At least that was the trend up until this year. I believe Sony's Blu-ray player is like $300, currently unavailable, so apparently it's selling pretty good, at least on Amazon. But now that the player is out, they could change their mind if they feel that it'll increase the value of the system, and then that'll give them almost a full year of being able to sell their standalone Blu-ray player to get those sales out of the way. Another big feature they could implement would be a built-in PSVR support, so that you don't have those extra cables and that extra processing adapter taking up space and being an eyesore. That extra processing unit was said to have taken care of like 3D audio processing, which I imagine, wouldn't be too big putting on a system. And also it was helping to display the screen on your TV. So if you had other people in the room kind of watching TV, it was to help with that. But again, you would think that would be easy to kind of implement on the system itself so that you could do away with all that, which would be a nice gesture, I think, for PSVR owners, because I think that would kind of give them the idea that Sony is committed to this product, because I've already seen some rumblings from the public who are concerned about the lack of blockbuster VR titles coming out on the PSVR, and VR headsets are already gathering dust. So that would be kind of Sony's way of saying, yes, we are in this for the long run. There's, of course, some other items you could change, like the buttons on the front, hard drive space, but I think the biggest feature would probably be that Blu-ray player, because, as far as the hard drives go, you can change those. You can get external hard drives now for the PS4 Pro, so I think that Blu-ray player would really make a big impact if they decided to do that, because I know if I had a 4K TV, that would be a nice option to at least have to go along with my setup. So speaking of 4K, if you follow videogamesandnews.com, you would also know that the PS4 Pro did receive an update that it should actually be live today, I believe, that enables 4K video playback on the PS4 Pro from a USB stick or a home server. So a new update there. So now you can play that through the Media Player app. So good news for anybody wanting to take advantage of those features. Post below, what would you like to see if they do come out with a PS4 Pro Slim model? What changes do you want to see Sony implement? That does it for me, The Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Are you listening? Damn.